What is up, everybody? J-Nell here with my UFC 241 prediction videos happening this Saturday. Coming to you from my hood, Anaheim, California. I'm in southern Los Angeles, and that's in southern Los Angeles, so it's my hood. Coming to you from Cali. Anyway, so this is going to be a great event. This card is stacked. The matchup, the styles. I'm actually really excited for this. I think there's definitely going to be some knockouts. I'm just excited, so please check it out. First up, I'm going to do the main card. The first up, I'm choosing Derek Brunson to beat Ian Heinrich. I think this is a great way to start the card. I think, again, don't blink. This could end at any second, but good way to start the card. It could go either way. Next up, I'm choosing Stipe Miocic to beat Gabriel Benitez. I think as long as Sadiq can keep it standing, I think he's faster. I think he hits harder, but Gabriel, I think, is more skillful on the ground, although who's stronger, I'm not sure. Either way, it's going to be a competitive, fun match as well. Could go either way, but I'm going with Sadiq. Now, we have Yoel Romero versus Paulo Costa. Now, they're around the same size, and as far as like thickness, I think Yoel will be a bit thicker than Paulo. I think Paulo will be faster with like hand speed and maybe his kicks as well. But I'm not sure who's. I think Yoel's still going to be more powerful. Honestly, I'm not quite sure, but I could be wrong. I think that Yoel's face a higher level of competition. I think it comes down to that. They both haven't fought for like a year due to PEDs, possibly infractions. I think Yoel beat his case. I'm not sure about Paulo. Did Paulo beat his case? But either way, they both haven't fought for a year. I think because Yoel is 42 years old, this will do him well, give him that rest. But Paulo being 28 and in the middle of that whole learning trajectory, this is him time off out of the ring. I don't think that's going to suit him well. And again, this is a huge step up in competition, and I'm not quite sure he's ready. Although he might be, they both have one punch knockout power, but I am sticking with the old guy on this, and I'm choosing Yoel Romero. But again, everything in this fight we're going to hear. Do you realize that? Every punch, smack, every kick, smack, slam, smack. This fight's gonna hurt to watch. So it could go either way. But I am sticking with Yoel Romero. Now, on to the co-main event. Let's talk about this. We're seeing Anthony Showtime Pettis take on Nate Diaz. Both my boys. Both. Wow. Such a fun fight. A lot of people, this is going to be their main event. Let's get into it first with Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He got his black belt from one of the Gracies. He's also a very proficient boxer, like a boxer-striker hybrid. He's got the head movement. He's got the jabs. He's got the multiple combinations. He has some kicks, too, and he's starting to finally check kicks. He's finally starting to learn that. He also has incredible cardio. So going five rounds, like 3 rounds, but having a high offensive output throughout 3 rounds isn't going to be anything for him. Also, I think he does have the reach advantage with the hands. He fights long. Anthony Pettis actually has the reach advantage with the legs, and we know with those kicks, what I believe is a third-degree black belt in Taekwondo. Let's go ahead and talk about him for a second. Third-degree black belt in Taekwondo with a little kicking advantage with the legs, which we know he will use. Also a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu from a very high-level teacher as well. We've seen him with submission victories. He's unpredictable, probably a little bit more unpredictable as far as he has a high offensive output as well. But the punch count that Nate Diaz usually puts together tends to be extremely high. So I would say that Nate probably has a higher offensive output, but quite frankly, I'm not sure who's going to be more powerful. It's going to be Anthony Pettis. With that Taekwondo, his style, it just generates more power. And we know that Nate Diaz is more punches and bunches, cumulative damage. We know Nate Diaz doesn't really get started until he sees his own blood. He's got an incredible chin. As long as he checks them kicks, because Anthony's kicks, he'll destroy that leg within 2 or 3 kicks. He'll destroy the leg within 2 or 3 kicks if he doesn't do something about that. So, who will win? Nate hasn't fought since 2016. That's a little bit too long for my liking. Anthony Pettis he just came off the Wonder Boy KO. He's feeling it. He's in stride. But, Anthony Pettis, I don't want to say he's prone to injury, but kind of prone to injury. Something could happen in the middle of the fight. There's a lot of question marks here. I don't know who's going to win this fight. If Nate is checking them kicks and he gets started early, presses the pace early, starts... But Anthony, again, more powerful, more unpredictable. If it goes to the ground, who's going to win? I think it might be a little bit of a stalemate. I think physically, who's going to be stronger? I'm not quite sure on that, especially on the ground. With the grappling, we could see a bit of a stalemate on the ground. With the grappling, actually, no. I think Nate Diaz is a bit more creative with his grappling, actually, and a little bit more slick. So with technique-wise, I actually think I would give the edge with the grappling to Nate Diaz. So if he gets in trouble on the feet, maybe take it down. Who's going to win? I don't know. But I don't like the fact that Nate Diaz hasn't fought since 2016, so I'm actually going to go with Anthony Pettis. But let me just say, I want Nate Diaz to win. And the reason why is I want the rubber match between him and Conor McGregor. Let's just get that over with already, man. Do it, let Conor retire, do whatever you got to do. But I am, on paper, I got to go with Anthony Pettis, so that's my official pick. But just know, I'm rooting against my own pick here. Okay, now, main event, and we're seeing the UFC heavyweight champion, the baddest man on the planet, Mr. DC Daniel Cormier, take on a rematch against the man he took the title from, Stipe Miocic. Now, do I think in the first match he beat him in the first round? It was competitive. Stipe actually had his momentum going. He had his moments. Daniel had a read in training that they saw in the film, how Stipe would drop his hand in transition coming out. So he was kind of looking for this punch, and he got it, and he knocked Stipe out in the first round. So, do I think this fight will go differently? Yes. I don't think that Stipe is going to fall for the same thing. I think he's smarter than that. I think he has great movement. I think he's fast for a man of his size. He is bigger than Daniel Cormier. He is taller and kind of a bit wider. Daniel came into that last fight extremely heavy because he was just now going back up to the heavyweight division. If you see him now, he looks like he's about 240. So he's not as big. He ain't going to have as much weight as he did last time. So he will be smaller than Stipe kind of all the way around. But do I think that means he's going to be less powerful? No. With that Olympic caliber wrestling, he will still be physically stronger than Stipe. He will have better technique. He will have better mechanics. So I think that still he needs to get inside that reach, because Stipe will have the reach advantage. Get inside that reach. Get your hands on him. Work that dirty boxing. Work that with those uppercuts. He has great dirty boxing. Push him to get the cage. Have him hold that weight, because even though you'll be smaller, but with your wrestling techniques, you'll feel heavy. He knows how to really weigh on a fighter. So it's just 5 rounds. I don't think DC's going to have a problem going 5 rounds. He mentioned that's why he actually is a little slimmer in this fight, because he thinks it's going to last longer. So I think he's prepared. And Stipe, of course, again, as far as the quicker hand speed, DC's hand speed is deceptively quick. I'm not quite sure Stipe, I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure. Stipe can have some kicks. I think that would behoove him, because he has the reach advantage as far as the hands and the feet. So if he can keep this in distance, get a nice jab going, keep it in space, he can get some points together and maybe work towards a finish, create an opportunity for a knockout or something like that. Stipe, again, is going to be the bigger man, so if he can play the leverage game when they do get in close quarters as far as the dirty boxing, and just make sure his positioning is on spot, because if he's off with the mechanics, he's going to go flying in the air and down to the ground. So he's got to be first. Stipe has to be first. He cannot let DC get going, and he really can't make mistakes. DC's really good at seeing things in the fight, making the necessary adjustments, and then moving forward. He also has a really good team that's really smart, and they put together really good game plans. In fact, I think that's going to be one of the outside factors here, is I think that DC's team may be a little bit better at game planning. Close. Great teams, but I kind of like DC's team better. I think they might have a better read, but again, I don't know. This fight could go either way, but I want DC to win. Not only do I think he is capable of winning as far as his technique, punching power, I think he actually hits harder than Stipe. He carries more power at heavyweight than he did at light heavyweight. He doesn't have to kill his body making the weight. And again, like I've always said, I don't want to bring Kane up, but I think Kane robbed us of 2 careers because of his injuries and his training. We never got to see his full career, and because DC's his best friend, we never got to see DC. I actually think that DC could have possibly been the greatest heavyweight in UFC's history. Period. Forget having 3 title defenses. I think DC could have had that belt for 3 years. Just think about this. He's only been a heavyweight for like 2 years, and he already has got the belt and defended it once. He's already fought past what he said he was going to do. If he can go slice through Stipe with no damage to himself, maybe we can get 2 more fights out of him. And then maybe he does somebody like Francis Ngannou next, and then maybe the next person, he breaks that record in like 2-3 years and becomes the greatest heavyweight after the age of freaking 35. That would be amazing if he could become the greatest heavyweight in like the span of like 3 years. Because I honestly think he's never lost a round as a heavyweight. And I know it sucks, but there will always be an asterisk next to that light heavyweight belt. There just always will. But that heavyweight belt is pure. It's pure money. It's gold. It's untainted. And had he been a heavyweight this whole time, he man could have had the belt for like 5, 10 years. I actually believe that. And I wish we could have seen that. But if he can get through the Stipe fight, and again with no damage to himself, maybe we can get another fight or two out of him and have him break this record within, like I said, like 2, 3 years and become the greatest. With like later in his career. Either way, it would be amazing to see. So I want DC to win this fight. It will be a great fight. This will be a really good event. This is a hard-hitting event. When you see the style matchups and the people, we're going to be hearing smack, slam, smack all night. I can't wait. All right. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where I probably will have other predictions as far as the prelims. And I'm kind of going back and forth with a couple, especially that first fight with Derek Bronson and stuff too. So again, just be looking out for my other social media platforms. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Subscribe, like, talk to me, take care. Let me know all of your picks, any injury updates, how excited you are for all of this. Talk to me, take care, and goodbye.